all okay for them.
Nothing like that to put a little bit of doubt in your mind at the start of a race where it's wet, dry track at the moment.
Exactly. So no, this is a really important first couple laps. Whether they can tiptoe around on those dry tyres, going to be a massive advantage by lap 3, I would say.
Well, George has just scooted past.
So welcome everyone to Singapore, where it's always slick. Welcome to round 18 of the Formula 1 World of the previous 15 Grand Prix. 3 miles, the dip is pretty dry. The middle sector is still a bit wet. Will you gamble? 3, we'll find out in a few moments. Singapore, and only 18 cars actually on the starting grid for the disqualified for qualifying because of a rear wing infringement for the 3rd year in a row here out in Q1. Gabriel Borden's 9 places down from where he started in Baku 2 weeks ago. Leclerc, Lewis Hamilton, his Ferrari teammate for the first for him. Championship leader Oscar Piastri started. It's George Russell with a first ever pole hit.
Well, they've all decided to tip it to water. And George Russell starts on the medium compound. An early safety car, get hard compound on and go to the end. Did they at any point? But the track...
It's starting in 2nd place, but that rain has only 177 metres into that first corner.
He's old enough and wise enough to know what body, whichever category you're in. And you can see it has George Russell, but he's got to get a better start than...
Singapore Grand Prix have produced 5 different... And Antonelli on the 2nd row. What is it for Oscar Piastri?
Happy with that, actually, this evening. From a...
Good evening, Ted.
Good evening, Crofty. Hi, Martin. Yeah, I'm coming through. I've got the soft tyre. Kids, tension is building now in the pit lane, Crofty.
There is anything, just when you got that sort of emulsion of a bit at Sky Race Control.
So Sainz... And that's the corner on the laps 2 grid before. Difficult to get round. We were just on board there with Lewis.
Himself a bit of a gap there, so Lewis wants to get on.
Max Verstappen on 255 points. McLaren leaves Singapore with a lead of 300. 1 car on the podium, and if that doesn't happen, flag in Abu Dhabi. So McLaren preparing maybe to
be a bit of a challenge until they understand.
And we're still not all slotting into position.
Runners are sitting on the front of the grid.
Yeah, they are riding under the lights here in Singapore. Verstappen's not covering him off, and he's trying to fend off Oscar. Forces Piastri wide, and Lando Norris has managed, and that looks like Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari Kimi.
Regulations.
Brilliant start then for George. Action there as Alonso has to concede the place, and I had contact. He said, keep an eye on everything.
3, and eventually Oscar had to get out.
7 races, including this, and 3 sprint races.
Piece on the top left, sticking out.
And Norris front wing in a couple of moments, we can see it.
Looking at to see if they think less impressed than Lando. Explaining the design of that front wing, a big part.
Yuki Tsunoda and Esteban Ocon now at this race start on board with Verstappen, and that might be where he broke his...
Right, it was actually tagging the back of the red...
causing a collision. Hadja on Behrman in skirmishes here in Singapore. 1.7, it hasn't worked.
Methinks the ground rules...
To me on Wednesday, we had the interview that we played as each race goes by. Little things are changing. Love and war to me on that one. Either way...
Wants to go there.
Are you gonna... They tend to be more lenient on the foot. That was over-aggressive.
Small, I will be worrying about it. It's a gap, 0.6 of a second. There are 4 of extra pace to try and close in. And he's...
The message is you're not really losing much front. It just backs the pack up completely into. It's not happening at all. George is...
So a likelihood maybe that George Russell...
No safety car, obviously Max's tyres.
Or a yellow flag.
So, Oscar, we're still reviewing that. Control the controllables, mate.
And the stewards have looked at it. Cause a collision. While we've been talking, Fernando Alonso...
It looks to me as if McLaren are reviewing at them.
Did Lando do anything wrong?
Aggressive, but this is a mode. And I can't see how McLaren can swap that around. Yeah, okay, so that's it then, is it? That's how we worry about... squabbling drop.
Got quite punchy against Lando.
Up in here, there and everywhere as George extends his lead. And I'd have thought that if it was Oscar was doing it, but it's pretty tight down there.
So McLaren will be Constructors' champion.
It does seem that Norris...
5 of 62 then. This race of Verstappen, soon under pressure from Piastri.
Verstappen, and that is when Norris pounced. A poorer place to be, and he'll be on the outside of us now. Max Charles Leclerc getting a much better start in his for Antonelli and Leclerc.
Board with Isaac Hadjar. Watch Ollie Behrman has And then there's contact, and Behrman has to be noted by the stewards, but nothing. That was I'm coming through tap.
It was just after about shoved Piastri into the wall, didn't it?
I think he certainly would have felt it and certainly wouldn't have enjoyed it. Dropped a couple of places, but he's now right on the tail.
Stewards, as a team, we can see Lando has not fair. Sorry, that's not fair. Yeah, but if he has to avoid another cut.
I think is starting to slowly lose a little. He's asked to swap places. In qualifying, complied with that. He's done a little bit of payback for him. And
yeah, he obviously thinks they and put some pressure on the team. That's weird. I mean, it helped Leclerc, didn't it? It cleared Hamilton then for him. And Fernando Alonso in 8th at the moment with the soft tyres, but are going to wear out more quickly. They're going to get grip as well. So we'll have to start babysitting those red marks.
Hang on, Ted, because we've got a yellow flag, current yellow flag, and DRS has been disabled. They're all still, they're all still running. DRS is enabled.
I'm actually opposite McLaren for this race about what to do, if anything. That's what they decided to do. Quite right that the two McLaren drivers, and Monza was part of it, the team about an on-track pass. But my mind goes back to Senna and Prost in the late 90s.
No.
Not in a million years.
No, not Ashley was not overly amused at the end. But a team radio there saying that he's got a problem.
I've ever known. The McLaren drivers are welcome momentarily. No team has ever done that before.
No.
Now it seems to generate other issues, doesn't it?
It's absolutely not.
Well, it means in the two in front.
Just drop off a bit, certainly to George Russell from the leader. Lando Norris within very, very quickly. So you have to be aggressive since the contact with Max Verstappen.
The big thing here, as Norris is in the, if he pits, he'll pass him on the pit stop.
Yeah.
It's critical, isn't it?
So, lap 9 of 62. Antonelli currently chasing down Charles and Hadjar in the top 10. At 17th, he started 13th. Esteban waiting patiently here, with George Russell unduly stressing those tyres.
So he's reporting to the team again. Turn 16, the chicane near the shaping that you have that's causing maybe this
shape of the braking coming up. That's brake by, that means 59 points. Going to the front axle and the balance to the rear axle, because downshifting, it's very easy just to lock the rear. Verstappen has got to nurse those soft, and that's leaving George very much a free run.
Well, score once in 2025, and only fourth here last year for his first point.
Any change there with the downshift match? Otherwise, he's got...
First time we've heard that this season. Produce some really fine performances, unless Norris can...
That beeped out word there to describe how much all-round, please. Took off his headset and walked down the back. Slightly more detailed, technical...
in technical ways. Racing Bulls getting quite animated, causing a collision with Ollie Behrman, but I think right at the start he's been passed since. But I said 2 laps ago it was 4.5 seconds. It's now nearly away, 1/10 of a second a lap on Verstappen.
First few corners. So that to an extent, certainly Lando and Oscar absolutely is the faster of the two McLarens.
Ferrari ahead of him, which is...
But it looks in the straights like Kimi said in most drivers. We'll see now when we go on board going down the straight, isn't it? That's an awful thing.
It's an awful lot to try and work. He's in Formula One. He's the leading rookie driver in
Crofty, and he's been told as well to severely see as massive tyre saving. And steer, his team have been trying to help him with the... Antonelli definitely has some pace in hand.
In Canada, and there are similarities between...
In 7th, and Fernando. And if that happens, it starts building undercut to get out on fresh tyres, and it can gain 3 seconds on them with fresh tyres.
All quiet down there, apart from Ted.
They were trying to adjust the steering rack, happening with Russell, but they just thought, look, we can't do any more for it. Able to fix it, and how much of a challenge is that for Kimi?
There's been an upturn in form in the last couple of race stops for Red Bull. Now that is coming in, and that is why Bortoletto is coming in before that end plate completely falls. The victory last year, he might have got victory. Bortoletto comes back out in the race.
Teams and drivers to see how the hard look at what happened down into Sydney.
He did. I think it was contact with Stroll.
Sorts of sensors and pressure sensors.
This is where Lando Norris hit the wall.
And then when we see it here, it always looks hard-steered. He just understeered into the wall. You could see the front. Is young Lando.
Skirmish Colapinto now in the pits. I think Lewis Hamilton put the softs on last year start. They're an improved soft tyre this year onto Colapinto, suggesting that he, with the information...
Yeah, and his track position is behind some one-stoppers. measure.
McLaren, Lando Norris gaining half a second. Well, he's now 1.2, 1.1 second. So opens at about lap 20 for the soft tyre bending. You'd bring him in sooner rather than later if you could.
An 8-second lead. They can afford to lovely, comfortable cushion to have markers, and then there's only 3 of them. So wait out and see if they get a safety car up, going at safety car speed instead of racing.
Behind his teammate Lando Norris and his rival in exactly the same car, albeit race management thinking that one stopper might be the way.
Well, I think there's one stop, as it's called, lift and coast into. So you lift early, let the aerodynamics, the corners. So pole position was 129. Is the penalty carrying 10 kilos. We've got some fuel element going on. Pole position time. That is how they're managing up.
Lando on the blankets. They must happen. There was no audio. We had the.
Though
They are cover all the bases, but the problem is a huge favour here. No, they're not coming back.
He's going to be behind Alonso and Hadjar.
Going back in.
They called him to stay out. Max Verstappen, but he would get stuck behind.
it was almost blatant, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Box would have done it, but box. Because there's.
They came out with the hard tyres, Martin. So, of course, from now, lap 26, 27. So if they put... So that's the other reason why they don't really want to stop so early.
And go, why are we stopping now? My car, my tyre. Quite a bit too well telegraphed, that one.
So you get that extra pay. It's this man, Lando Norris. It was just a George Russell, now nearly 9 seconds. 7.4s, and Oscar Piastri pushes his tyres. Starts to just push that little bit.
That way, doesn't it? Oscar's been biding his time, and in the first couple of corners, and the lack of... I said to him, you've got to get your head down and see what you can do in this race. Using the raw pace.
First sector on this, lap 9. Would he be allowed to wait a little bit longer? It's subplots and dimensions test.
So, 8th, the gap we talked about, drop a pound tyre.
Verstappen is coming, decided we've had enough of those soft tyres. The pit window looks about a second slower than he would have wanted on him if he can.
So this is where McLaren, so the gap we talked about, some ruled out, and Red Bull have used the react to that. They'll end up behind.
Critical, let's get on with it. Gianpiero Lambier powerful here in Singapore, and McLaren have to get Lando in and then out again ahead of Fernando.
Yeah, and of course if Lando comes out lap, if they do, they need it's not an unduly fast lap. The sector of this Grand Prix, entire Grand Prix.
Made Oscar Piastri, albeit by a tenth of a second, now by 10 and a bit seconds from Norris. Then Piastri, Charles Leclerc, who's coming in for racing the pit lane now, pitting from the points.
Antonelli and Leclerc, if they don't want to pit Bull with this strategy, unless the two...
Cut in there, Franco Colapinto and Isaac Hadjar weaving all over the track.
Antonelli out there for a little while to...
will be if they strategy for the time being, and keeping Lando Norris
to their target lap time. So both laps around the 37.0, their target lap time.
So this will catch their attention. Leclerc is now catching Hamilton and Antonelli very quickly. Against Charles Leclerc with fresh tyres.
It wasn't a bad pit stop from Ferrari, but I got the feeling it's a tyre offset between Leclerc and the...
Should breeze past this car.
Past him.
Yeah, he should breeze past for Ferrari. Anyway.
Everything is working again.
Flat out to get pace, to get heat. Hard tyres in nice and gently. There'll be your.
It sounds like he's carrying Verstappen and Barons on their used tyres.
Than their rival. Develop their way back into the game. So have they got that tyre wear advantage? We'll see.
With some new front wing bits, but you see what I mean about how quickly Ferrari and Mercedes
and George Russell, that's all they're talking about. 36.7 last time around.
Yep, and 6 is about a tenth of a second.
So now you've got those gaps and you're trying to drop it.
So
get that gap reduced in half between yourself and...
You'd imagine they'll pit Norris first.
But McLaren gets the first call, but...
Pits, but I'm looking down to Ferrari. They've got to be thinking about the 8. It's got better now, a 1:30. And, will they wait for Verstappen to catch him or not?
Verstappen not necessarily passed, but this race is paying handsome dividends for him.
I mean, I don't want to lose track position to it.
Talked about, they've got to protect Oscar against.
With Max Verstappen, who is the far out of the way Ferrari.
Ooh, that'll be road. There's Kimi Antonelli in the Mercedes.
Their move to try and bring themselves 3.5 seconds. It's a slow pit stop for Lewis.
But I don't think it'll cost Lewis too much.
Lawson, it is going to be ahead of Lawson.
Yeah, that was get fresher tyres. Piastri 5, so he lost one over a second first to protect if they want to keep Norris out there.
We saw that it was a little bit slow, the going on. So he's been into the pits. 4/10 of a lap. Ted, down to you.
Yeah, so I think they've been done a favour by Max Verstappen in the now, quickly followed by Kimi Antonelli.
Of Max Verstappen on the track. There's the double head of Fernando Alonso on the soft.
And the gap to Oscar pit. Let Oscar pit the lap before you.
I heard a yes there.
I thought he said yes. Yeah.
He's not happy to give Oscar work out for him at the time.
So he'll have a 7-lap advantage over Piastri pit first. It's sort of meaning it's the right time to bring that car in.
So Piastri takes the lead of this Max Verstappen. There goes George Russell. Des will come out once again behind Max. Tyre offset, McLaren are hoping will pay dividend.
He's got advantage on the tyres. So game on, and again.
Okay, wait, what the hell is wrong with this engine again?
Listen carefully, I will tell you this.
In this race, down in 15 points, haven't pitted yet. Neither has Alex. Couple of laps, but Ted Kravitz is coming into the pit.
Fernando Alonso, got to say, well done to the Oh my goodness me, not again! They were here, wouldn't come off on that stop. How much will you lose some from McLaren? More problems.
In terms of track position, so Lando
on the nut to tighten it up, tumbling out of the points after running. Comes out behind Pinto in the Alpine, and he is, but only in Baku, 5.37 seconds. You know, it's like London buses. These.
Let's have a look at it. A little bit of Dan Deere overtaking. But
pitted yet, Behrman has, and he's up into third. Shall we? George Russell now leads, but George has got much fresher tyres, and he's about 5 seconds back at the moment. And comes Charles Leclerc, about 3.5 seconds ahead. DRS helping him at the end.
And Red Bull looked more comfortable matching George Russell, whereas George Russell was extremely close to the wall, didn't it, for Kimi?
Just as we ride on board with Kimi Antonelli.
34 to go.
I want to be alone message. In fact, don't tell me only once, I'd like to tell everything.
Well, Leclerc, basically the threat of that undercut into this race. Both drivers at McLaren were going long, but the guy we're watching on the screen at the moment, he helped George Russell, who has really saved George as well, thanks to the...
Remember, Max was told outlap critical track position as well, whereas I think...
Antonelli, by the way, fastest man on the racetrack, or with the front of Charles Leclerc. Just make a little mistake. Yeah. Charles Leclerc stopped at lap 20, just slightly fresher rubber, better performance
around here, but and the harder you on to the straight, because if you can carry it later on if you're a bit closer into turn 7, but teenager, isn't it?
And only just 9th of August. Isaac very happy with life currently at the moment. Of any driver, to be honest. Won the 4-hour NLS race as well as he was hoping, but he's certainly not out of this one.
Have been faster than George Russell in the league.
On Piastri after that slow stop where he lost a couple. I guess the silver lining to that cloud, and at least at the moment, Norris isn't going to win. So Oscar would only drop a couple of points, wouldn't he?
Nobody has done anything like a long... So the teams really have no idea how it's so many minutes lost. They are all...
Well, but you're right, they don't know. It's a bit of a minute. Rubber's in a lot. You don't quite know where it's...
Like, no, quiet. But
yeah, that was incredible, wasn't it? Not a single yellow. We have
the history of the Formula 1 World Championship that didn't singular race. Ollie Behrman's getting some more science as the next ahead of him. Albon pitted yet, maybe hoping to take advantage of a safety.
And suddenly it's now Hamilton.
Just out of interest, Lance Stroll, they've lasted 32, even though he is lapping in the 139s at the moment. Well,
parsimonious.
Budget, son, budget. George Russell ahead of Max Verstappen.
He is, isn't he? He really... Yeah, that's actually a tremendous 20 laps. In fact, it's a sterling effort.
Lawrence's grandchild, a little bit out in front. Russell and Verstappen brushing the wall slightly there, down in...
He hit the throttle.
Yeah, that's a bigger bang that we saw. Russell. Norris was also... It's not just a pace advantage Max have got as well.
It's a good thing to remind, because you forget when you're in the bull in his mirrors, and he might even just go straight. So it's 7th before the pit stops.
Yeah, it might be quite a competitive finish. Charles Leclerc, by the way, has just set his fastest lap. Hard on the pit wall to get them into the place where they need it on at the moment.
So what they're hoping for by it kind of destroys the afternoon.
Of 62, just watching lap and a half to try and keep to the DRS and get that advance second as well. Carlos Sainz is very much within us, this unrelenting seat.
Nothing Aston Martin can do about it, because Stroll behind him, 1 second, and Alonso on Hadjar's tail, and Hadjar with an engine issue.
A bit of it here, and there's Ollie Behrman right on Sainz.
Catch up after that lumpy pit, so can now start having a go.
George Russell's definitely within a tenth of a second of each other, the top four.
Yeah.
Lap 37 here. Don't mind at this moment, I'll do a little shout.
He's locked his front tyres up going in here.
Right.
Big lock-up. I'm not surprised that caught Matt.
Of Pierre Gasly, that's the battle for last place. Staying ahead of Fernando Alonso. He's got the engine issue, of course, and that's allowed. There's some decent racing going on out there at the moment.
A different point of view, DRS
Here
down
he
the
goes. I tell you what, there's a young man called Will Mack. Will Mack passed is a good friend of mine. Will had some pretty bad news a couple of weeks ago, and his recovery back at home.
Trophy for the hero of race.
Trophy.
It means Hadjar, does he, presumably?
I think he means himself.
Racing, good defence from Hadjar. Cruise straight up behind Alonso on the back of Albon and co.
For a moment that the door was open, it's not. Dong Ollie Behrman has pitted and would quite like to clear both.
So seems as if he's starting to struggle.
He's been suffering from, are they starting to affect him more? Fernando Alonso getting all squirrely.
And left, that was a very feisty and look out. So Verstappen, when he has a tidy lap, is struggling with the control of the car.
Lando Norris, 1.6 turn 2, so he's gone off again faster than Lando Norris on the last lap, or thereabouts at the end.
I think it's Max just running a little bit. We'll get a warning, and 4 of them. And
All pits, which will be to pit. Ollie Behrman back up into go to Austin, the next race out. We're closing in again on the 2 McLaren. A-OK for them with 1 drive.
3 now, it's really closing in.
So brake balance.
The engine braking, so that they'll be when your car starts slowing down, doesn't it? When on these cars, very well indeed.
In one of the back of Max Verstappen with Lando on the track.
Struggling in clean air, so let's put pressure on.
Down that has been caused in part by the.
How I explained what they've got to do to help. So there's a little price to pay.
62 on board with Lando Norris.
Lando pulls those first gear downshift away, so.
Down this straight.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I think. Oh, here we go.
Yeah, you see, for Lando Norris didn't cost him this year in terms of he's on course to finish higher.
Ant Davidson reminding me that Max was sure he did.
And talking of dirty air, Fernando Alonso for long, although a big lock-up. They're all trying, aren't they? Albon, who hasn't pitted yet, remember.
Yeah.
You've got 2 Saubers, an Alpine, and a bit of M-plate there. As playing a watching brief here, thinking people, and ahead of these, Yuki Tsunoda.
Russell's coming up behind, fillings out of his teeth, apart from he doesn't have any.
Maiden encore. This is Yuki Tsunoda. Both of them out of this race, and that could have. Colapinto then goes off, and Tsunoda. We can see again another car's width at that final caught off the Sauber. And I'm not.
That's Hulkenberg's front wing on that occasion.
George, with a little bit of.
Just let me know if you strongly disagree. Copy that, we've got it.
He's not happy, is he?
He's nowhere near. Already.
Has been lapped. Just saw Max in the distance. Straight into the corner and see what happens.
So we cut live to that, didn't we? Just as
has been noted, and that lap from Lando Norris will be 6 seconds behind his teammate Lando. Oh,
now here's someone ready to storm the following contest. Weighing in at 240. Never have made it to WWE.
Hulkenberg as he senses the
caliber of Rey Mysterio, luchadors of all time.
Yeah, sorry about that. We'll be interrupted by.
Blue flag, get out of the way.
Is obviously this late into the race. Look at the marbles and all these slower cars and look after them to keep the speed going. That's what we're seeing so far.
1.2 seconds now, Norris behind us.
They then become more aware of the blue flags, but Russell is still for any time soon.
Yeah, there's Lando Norris is now less than a downshift issues. We believe these latter stages of the race either,
because we noticed with Stroll that that's what I'm telling you about how you back up a little bit for you.
But Max on the all sorts of struggles going on for Max Norris use to get an extra
front left looks horrible. So if you have to go offline, cold rubber
to put himself on softer tyres to the end, this has better off in this race than his teammate.
It's a free pit stop for Lewis Hamilton because he's got more, which I think is a great shame personally.
Formula One getting the fastest lap at the final at a Grand Slam. He wants now is second place in this race. Fights, and he's struggling in that dirty air to the main straight markers, and that's kind of helping him
by ducking around, but through the gap.
Yeah, getting out of the way as soon as he could. The gap. While this is happening, George Russell is markers that Verstappen and
Behrman and Hadjar Suno.
It's a battle against the cars on the track. It's 60 degrees in the cockpit. We're on lap 40 of this race. The comes back at Max Verstappen again, and Verstappen having that
starting the race in the middle of the pack.
But is now just extended by 3 tenths.
The turbulent air being kicked off the back. If Lando can just keep him under, but you know, Max has the high ground here.
What happened here though is that Verstappen's had that DRS, the back markers. Now they've cleared those back markers. He can keep within DRS range. He gets the advantage. Max
much fun. You have no idea.
And so in control, he's letting a happy bunny here tonight, and he really would just like.
Fine, but the difference now, of course, is if Lando's not. Lando can't.
It's the only one you haven't seen in the pit lane is Carlos.
9, actually. Haven't seen Carlos Sainz do for the Williams. I'm just wondering with here hasn't been the usual so laid back. Was it that in passing him, he clonked into him in the midst of a Constructors' Championship sector in this race?
Yeah, I think the grab to me now.
Yeah, well, drivers battle, and he said, look, there's little things and when the Constructors' Championship has been done, which it were the fun. Lewis Hamilton currently down 34.3 on the last lap.
Antonelli and Leclerc at the end of the race, Lewis. Yes, he'll be there, won't he? He'll be there before the end.
Race in a row, Lewis Hamilton finishes ahead. Back to the Norris-Verstappen battle. George
there, and it's Max's teammate. It's a 4-car pack this time.
This has never been closer on this particular part of the year, and then he might be able to the Red Bull start to really pay dividends as Carlos and does so. Comes in at the last match,
and then he's got clear air. Though this is key now, he can control his own destiny.
Out on that podium as he was chasing down in this race tonight. And what a time for George Russell to get they might have an agreement, they might not have an agreement. What is the sticking point, and why would Mercedes?
I'm sure they don't, but it's rather complicated there, isn't it?
Yeah, well, let's just hope that he's I think he's having a splendid season. Start to lead that team as a driver after the 10 laps to go. Incident yesterday where I'll remember that, he said. We'll remember against the McLaren.
Just keep an eye on Oscar Piastri, and as they're side by side.
And I'm sure he would love to be arriving. And Leclerc now has Antonelli within DRS. Hamilton, we said, was closing in, so we'll keep an eye on that. Fernando Alonso, career best night for him, and Isaac Hadjar, yeah, close there. But once again, it's this.
What's Tsunoda going to do here? What is Tsunoda?
Let's just have a little look again on board with.
He knows he can.
Max so aware. No chance of any collision.
You'll see them like a rocket.
Bartoletto ahead is on 40 lap old.
Compared to the softs.
Yeah.
Oh dear. In the first place, but there you go. Right.
He's passed Leclerc.
He has. And is now under 4 seconds behind his team. Try and get Antonelli, and I wonder after Baku what.
Yeah. So in the end, were they 8th and 9th?
Lance Stroll's got, and the gap is just a couple of tenths on the last 2 laps.
He lost 4 seconds to Hamilton within a lap. Only if Leclerc has another horror story, but Ferrari will surely ask him to move over.
You want Lando Norris about 8 tenths of a second. It makes it more difficult for his teammate.
He might do, because he might trick, didn't we, by keeping Norris in his.
Ooh. And what is that?
Sister team do hold Lando up.
Verstappen's teammate for next season as well. Go down very nicely in their first brief. Verstappen closing up then on Hadjar here. And you can see now that he's got D-option and instruction complied with.
So what kind of cunning McLaren?
Been told us they are closing in, so be aware. You do. I wasn't I couldn't hear any instruction.
Isn't that great? Look at that. Salesforce drop 13%. And I'm not surprised.
About 100%, didn't he? After that big fight, a 9-second pit stop is Fernando.
Lando maybe was just recharged up to go for a full scale. A lot closer on these last 3 miles.
More comfortable, hasn't he? Because he's pretty much all evening.
Yeah, it's for second place. Even if he doesn't get
Formula One car, I think I know who would win if you hit
Antonelli to Hamilton, half a second. Hamilton, touch of magic from somewhere.
Max drive offline and have to start defending on the previous lap, and that was about it.
RS, and I think the answer is just jabbing away and keeping him still up.
Yeah, so if we know that Max has got all these problems with
back-to-back Constructors' Championship 1991, the other Andrea Stella will start, what has looked about as likely to be one.
It's been a dominant year, but the advantage of the McLaren comes to the fore again. But they we really work to their advantage, which are years, and he's still behind him.
Finds Lando Norris, so that gap still will be not.
Lewis Hamilton's been off the track in way.
That might just have cost Lewis a chance place, which is of course where he finished last year.
Well, it wasn't apparently. It's just Lewis.
Well, that happens at the end of this race. Impressive. You're running with no cool air here. And things like that happen. You've got to take whatsoever for Verstappen and his defence here. He is still coming back at these two. There he is.
Yeah. He'll start getting 8.5 seconds covers the top. They will be exhausted when they get out of their shoes. He's handled them beautifully.
That replay to work out what was going on there, but that is
fallen back behind Leclerc again.
Hamilton is really struggling. That's Charles Leclerc, and then we saw that puff of brake. You can see the sparks coming on that
brake disc.
He certainly has, and then and maybe Charles Leclerc's brakes have gone a little bit. To turn 7, through it now, behind him, great entertainment from this top 4, Verstappen, and Verstappen might have to settle. Looks like he's going to have to settle for a win that he fully.
Which doesn't it? A result, but he's gone and taken every lap, did he? Because the McLarens took over. Russell commanded qualifying nicely.
He certainly has. Before tonight, we had 5 different winners in the last 6. Max Verstappen settles for second place and 4th, and McLaren are constructing Antonelli on the road. Then Charles Leclerc to Alonso might yet get past Lewis.
Weekend. Well done.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Soso. Made up for 2 years.
3 seconds behind Hamilton. Crosses.
Championships. We did. We won. 2 years.
Who cares? We all won. Beautiful. Simply.
Factory. There's so many people involved in.
Since 2018, it is Ollie Behrman came home to score 2 points from them. Terrific effort from George Russell. The team can celebrate tonight. And Lando, just up on our screen now, Lewis Hamilton has been noted.
Will do, because he's the last 4-5. Hamilton, there could be a 5-second penalty coming his way.
News from the stewards on that one, and left no stone unturned in his preparation. And I would imagine he's probably grams of weight during the course of the race.
It's a big night for George Russell too, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.